Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another fact of the day. Yes, right. This one is going to blow your minds. It might be quite hard to understand, but let's have some fun. We are going to learn today about something called Pangaea. Okay, you may have heard of it. You may have heard of it, but not know what it is. You might know what it is. But I will go ahead and tell you Pangaea is an ancient supercontinent. First of all, what do I mean by ancient? Have a think. It means it's very, very old. You could have an ancient mountain, an ancient tree that's hundreds of years old. You could have an ancient looking house. Very, very old. So it's something very old, and it's a supercontinent. What is a continent? Well, let's have a look here. Get off Mr. Snail there. He's coming later. So, here's a map of the world with all the continents coloured in. Now, if you want, you could pause it and have a count, see how many there are. But if not, I will tell you that there are seven. Seven continents. And do you know what it is? Do you know what they are? Why are these bits coloured in? Well, the simple answer is that there is big areas of land, just massive areas of land, nothing to do with the oceans, just big, big areas, much bigger than countries. I mean, take Africa here for an example, in the green. I think there's over 50 countries in Africa. So Africa is not a country, it's a continent with lots of countries in it. They tend to be separated by oceans or like mountain ranges, such as between Asia and Europe here. There's a big mountain range separating the continents. I've left a link to a video with a really, really addictive song, a really fun song that we did last year. If you want to learn all the continents, it's great. It's really good fun. So anyway, we've got a continent that is a big piece of land. So what is a supercontinent then? Have a think. What is a supercontinent? Well done if you said something like one massive piece of land. So when all these continents combine together, they combine forces and they make one big, giant supercontinent. Okay, that's great. But you're probably thinking, how's that happened? How on earth did all these continents join together to make one big supercontinent? Well, the answer has to be and is that they are moving. The continents are moving, which means that this is not how the Earth would have looked a long time ago. Africa would have been somewhere else. We would have been somewhere else. We've moved. So if you thought this is what the world would look like in 100 million years' time, you'd be wrong. If you thought this is what the world looked like 100 million years ago, you would be wrong. So, how on earth, you may be wondering, are they moving? Well, the answer is here. Magma. Magma is just a fancy word for lava underground. So when you have lava underground, you call it magma. And there's a big ocean of it all the way around the Earth. Think of the Earth being just a big ball of magma, and we're these rafts almost floating on top with the land and some water as well. So another way to think of it actually is if you're on a swimming pool. Hopefully you've all been on a raft in a swimming pool. Imagine the water is the magma and we're just floating on top, which means we can move. So that's one way to think of it. The next question you may be asking yourself is, why aren't we feeling this then? Why aren't we feeling ourselves moving and getting pulled along with these big rivers of magma underneath us? Well, the answer is it is going incredibly slowly. Incredibly slowly. This is why I've got the picture of the snail up. Mr. Snail, hello. How many centimeters do you think a continent can move in an entire year? Well, the answer is only 3. 3 centimeters in a year. And before we go on to Mr. Snail, I've got a quick question. Do you think, from this view, that if everything moved 3 centimeters, that you would notice any difference? The answer is not a chance. You would not notice any difference whatsoever. But back to the snail. I'm going to use the snail here. Imagine you gave this snail, okay, let's say a minute to move as far away from you as possible. He's not going to get very far. But imagine you gave him a year. He could get a long way in a year. And it is the same with the continents. Okay. How far would a continent travel in 100 years? It's a bit of maths for you. If it's moving 3 centimeters a year. Well, you do 3 times 100, you would get 300 centimeters it would move in 100 years. 300 centimeters is how many meters? 3 meters. So think about that again. 3 meters is the distance that we would travel, say, in 100 years. Again, you're not going to notice any difference. So let's think about 100 million years. Boom! That's what that number looks like. Wow, that's a lot of zeros. That's a long, long, long time. And the answer is, how far would the continent move in 100 million years? Almost 2,000 miles. 2,000 miles. Whoa, that is a very, very, very long way. That is from here to about here. We are definitely going to notice that. If Africa moved, say, all the way out here, 2,000 miles, we are going to notice that. The world is going to look very, very different. So let's go. Let's see how different it will look. I've got a very cool one up here. Here is this today, how we look today. Okay, on this map, I've put Brora with a red dot here so we can keep an eye on where we are. Let's go back. Oh, just over 100 million years. Boom! Look at that. Do you even recognize that as home? That is so different. It's hard to even recognize things. You can see they've kept the black lines about what our country looks like, but this light blue stuff is actually, I'll just highlight it here. All this light blue stuff is shallow seas. So our country would look like this, this kind of teardrop kind of shape. If we go down here, South America almost looks the same. Africa kind of looks the same, but it's been split in two. But you can see it looks very different. The continents have moved a long way in 100 million years. Let's go further back then to 200 million years. And here we have it. In 200 million years ago, the continents were all joined as one giant supercontinent. Look at that. Whoa. So what's on the other side? Absolutely, well, this one here is not quite joined on, but you know, there we go. Just one big ocean on the other side, and all the rest are joined together. One giant supercontinent. And here, look, you can almost make out the shape of Africa around here and the shape of South America. They're actually joined together. They fit together like a jigsaw piece, and you can actually see that today. Look at them. Here's South America. Look at its shape. Look at the shape of Africa. They fit together just like a jigsaw piece. Very, very cool stuff. So this, everybody, is Pangaea, the supercontinent. And 200 million years ago was round about the time when, let me get this up, the dinosaurs were first starting to rule the world. So that is how the world would have looked like when the dinosaurs first came along. But as they were around for a long time, a lot changed. I'll just show you a couple more things. Let's go just before the dinosaurs became extinct. So the world's looking a lot more recognizable now. We can see a lot of familiar things. This is what everything looked like just before the dinosaurs became extinct. And I want to show you something very, very cool. Let's go along here. Does anybody recognize what this is? It's the same shape. I've done it in another video. You'll find the Statue of Unity in this country. It's India. But look, an island by itself, and there's no Himalayas. That's right, the dinosaurs never saw the Himalayas. The Himalayas were not around. No Mount Everest to be seen. The Himalayas were created when India was slowly moving up here and crashed into this continent here. And that crashed caused all this land to rise, and the Himalayas were born. Let's fast forward, let's go to 35 million years. And look now, I will swivel round, and there, India has now crashed up into here, and the Himalayas are born. So just think about that for a minute. The Himalayas are younger than the dinosaurs. How cool is that? Wow, amazing stuff. And one last thing before we go, let's just change that to the modern day. There we go. One last thing before we go. You may have noticed on this map, because you might be thinking, well, all this is just nonsense. I can't feel anything. I'm not moving at all. This is all just rubbish. I'm going to show you something. Have a look right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, just here. There's a massive crack you can see all the way. Now, this is right at the bottom of the ocean. Okay. This is where Africa is moving away from South America. South America is moving this way. Africa is moving this way. Okay. Now, let's keep going up. Now, you might be thinking, still nonsense. We can't see it. How do we know it's there? Well, let's follow it all the way up. And oh my goodness, it actually goes to, what's this country here? Iceland. And that means that Iceland is getting ripped in two, and you can actually see that today. Let me show you a very cool picture. Get that up. Now here, will this work here? No. Here, you can see this massive crack going all the way through Iceland. So there is the evidence that has been split in two, and eventually it will become two separate islands. It'll be totally ripped in half, and this will all eventually fill with water, as it is starting to. Here's another picture of it being ripped in two. How amazing is that? Which means that if you look at the map here, one last thing, it means that this is moving away from us. We are moving away from North America at about the same speed as your fingernail is growing. So how amazing is that? So there's your fact of the day. That was Pangaea, is the name of the ancient supercontinent. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that one. Hope you don't have a headache. You can watch it again if you need to. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Okay, and we will see you tomorrow. Right, bye guys.